In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 MLB games happening on July 12, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 MLB games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Miami Marlins versus Baltimore Orioles. The Marlins are making the trip to Maryland this weekend to square off against the Orioles in an interleague series, and it's shaping up to be a solid test for both sides as they grind through the dog days of the season with playoff hopes still flickering in the background. The Orioles are finally hitting their stride, delivering the type of play folks figured they'd show from the jump. Their starters are dealing, and the bats are coming through with key hits, especially those big flies that change games in a hurry. They've ripped off wins in 5 of their last 6, pushing hard to climb back into the American League playoff chase after a bumpy start. For Saturday, Rogers takes the ball, and he's been lights out since landing on the roster toward the end of spring training. Sitting with a sharp 1.57 earned run average, he's kept homers to a minimum, just one allowed, and he's eating innings to hand things off smoothly to the bullpen. Over on the Miami side, Junk has held his own, but he's still settling into starting duties, usually lasting under 5 innings per outing. The Marlins stumbled in 3 of their 5 games heading into this matchup, so they're looking to steady the ship. Trevor Rogers is facing his old squad, which should fire him up extra, and Miami's hot streak from the past few weeks seems to be cooling off right when it matters. Baltimore has clawed its way out of an early season rut, and this feels like another chance for them to inch closer to even. As our first pick for this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles money line is our full game side pick. These two clubs have kept things low scoring pretty reliably when these pitchers are involved. Miami has dipped under the total in 4 out of Junk's past 5 turns on the mound, showing how tough it's been for opponents to pile up runs. On top of that, the Marlins managed only 3 runs combined across their last 3 defeats, highlighting their recent struggles to get the bats going. For Baltimore, the under has hit in 3 of Rogers' previous 5 starts, which lines up with his stingy form. Like I mentioned, he's given up just 5 earned runs over those 5 outings, making him a tough out for any lineup. I'll stick with those patterns for Saturday's game. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Tampa Bay Rays versus Boston Red Sox. This Saturday afternoon in Boston, we're seeing the next chapter in the last series before the All-Star break, featuring 2 American League East teams both eager to build some steam heading into the downtime. The Tampa Bay Rays are stepping up for the 3rd game in their 4-game battle against the Boston Red Sox, right there at Fenway Park, where the atmosphere is always electric and the stakes feel a bit higher as the first half wraps up. Heading into Friday, the Rays were in a rough patch, dropping 8 of their last 11 games and looking a little lost out there on the field. Meanwhile, the Red Sox were riding high on their best run of the year, stringing together 7 straight wins that have them feeling unstoppable. Crochet, who came over from the White Sox during the offseason, has been dealing since day one and even snagged a spot in the All-Star game for his efforts. Right now, he's topping the charts in innings thrown and strikeouts, showing why he's become such a key piece for Boston. The Red Sox have all the energy going their way, and their bats are heating up just as the weather does, putting up numbers that match the summer vibe. The Rays, on the other hand, are sliding the wrong way, and even with Baz on the mound, it's tough to see them flipping the script here. Baz has been reliable for Tampa Bay, no question, but the Rays have gone cold against lefties lately, and Crochet stands out as one of the top arms in that Boston staff. The Red Sox are on a tear, and they're not the kind of group you want to bet against when things are clicking like this. As our first pick for this matchup, the Boston Red Sox money line is our full game side pick. Coming into Friday, Tampa Bay had the under hitting in 52 of their games, with 39 overs and a couple of pushes, showing a clear lean toward lower scores throughout the year. The Rays sit 7th in the league for runs scored, averaging 4.72 per game overall, and that bumps up a bit to 4.88 when they're playing away. On defense, they're giving up 4.02 runs each time out, which adds up to an average game total of 8.74 runs. On the road, that combined figure edges higher to 8.95, but it's still still not screaming high-octane offense. Over in Boston, heading into Friday, the under had shown up in 47 of their 95 games, with 47 overs and 1 push, keeping things balanced. The Red Sox rank 5th across the majors in scoring, putting up 5.06 runs per game this season, leading to an average total of 9.54 runs in their matchups. At Fenway, they're even stronger offensively, averaging 5.49 runs, while the overall game totals hit 9.8 on average in their home digs. With both starters throwing well this year, I'm expecting Crochet and Baz to keep the hitters quiet and push this one toward fewer runs. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Cleveland Guardians versus Chicago White Sox. This Saturday afternoon in Chicago, we're into the third game of a 4-game weekend clash between a couple of American League Central rivals, with the Cleveland Guardians rolling into town to take on the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. It's a chance for both teams to grab some wins before the break, but the vibes are different. Cleveland's trying to stay sharp in the division while Chicago's still grinding through their changes. Burke has shown he can handle things better when pitching at home in Guaranteed Rate Field compared to his road outings. But let's face it, the White Sox are deep in a rebuild that's far from over. Their lineup is packed with young guys stepping up, and that means dealing with the usual bumps as they figure out life in the big leagues. It's not easy making that jump and staying consistent. Bybee hasn't had the easiest year, but don't let his 4-9 record fool you. He's got more in the tank than those numbers suggest, with solid stuff that just hasn't gotten the breaks. The Guardians have backed him with 3 runs or fewer in 8 of his 18 starts so far, including 3 strong outings that ended in losses and 2 more that went to no decisions because the bats didn't show up. Chicago's offense isn't lighting anyone up, so Bybee ought to keep them quiet long enough for Cleveland's hitters to scratch out what they need and walk away with the win. I see why some might lean toward the White Sox here, especially at home, but I'm not buying it, not with Tanner Bibee, Cleveland's top arm, towing the rubber. He's better than a lot of his results this season, and I figure the Guardians will step up for him, snag this one, and head into the break on a good note. As our first pick for this matchup, the Cleveland Guardians money line is our full game side pick. Those first 3 meetings between these teams back at the start of the year kept things low-key, with the under cashing twice and 1 push. Sure, that was early days, and both clubs have had their share of highs and lows since, but their hitting has picked up noticeably as the season's worn on. Cleveland's bats went ice cold during that long skid they had, barely scraping together runs, but in the 4 games right after, they've turned it around and averaged 6.3 runs each time out, showing some real pop again. Chicago's offense has been rough overall this year, no denying that, but they do manage about 0.69 more runs per game when playing at home versus on the road, which gives them a slight edge in familiar surroundings. That little boost could tip the scales here. With both starters scuffling a bit lately, I'm betting on some early action to push the score up and keep us in a good spot. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. New York Mets versus Kansas City Royals. The New York Mets are squaring off against the Kansas City Royals, and both squads are pushing hard to climb higher in their divisions as the season rolls on. Sitting at 54-41, the Mets hold down second spot in the National League East, showing they've got the pieces to stay competitive. Over on the Royals side, with a 46-49 mark overall but 7 wins in their last 10 outings, they're boasting the second best record right now in the American League Central, which has them feeling like they're turning a corner. Sure, you could argue for the Mets on a good day when everything's clicking for them, but Montas is tough to count on right now. He's easing back into things after some time away and has given up 15 hits along with 10 runs across just 14.2 innings pitched. Meanwhile, the Royals have been putting together some solid games without much fanfare these past couple of weeks, and Lorenzen's been sharp, surrendering only 8 hits and 3 runs over his last 11.2 innings on the mound. When he's throwing at home, he's logged 35.2 innings with a 3.79 earned run average and holding hitters to a .259 average, which speaks to his reliability in familiar territory. Bottom line, the Royals are clicking, playing in their own park, and they've got the steadier arm starting this one. As our first pick for this matchup, the Kansas City Royals money line is our full game side pick. Even though both these clubs usually hang their hat on strong pitching to get by, lately the bats have taken over, leading to 9 or more runs in 5 of their last 7 contests combined, and that includes 11 runs in the opener of this series. Pretty wild considering the over has split even at 5-5 in their previous 10 head-to-head tilts, showing how unpredictable these matchups can get. Looking at the Mets, the over has hit in 7 of their past 10 games straight up, and they've been leaky on defense too, coughing up 5 or more runs in 6 of those. For the Royals, the over's gone 5-5 in their recent 10, while they've managed to score about 4.5 runs per game in that same window, keeping things lively enough to push totals higher. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Colorado Rockies versus Cincinnati Reds. The Colorado Rockies, stuck at 21-72, are set to take on the Cincinnati Reds, who are hanging in there at 48-46 in the second game of their 3-game National League Series this Saturday. Both teams are pushing through the grind, but the Rockies look rough with their dismal standing, while the Reds are battling to stay relevant as the first half wraps up. Sure, there are moments when throwing support behind the Rockies makes sense, like when they've got a hot streak or a favorable matchup, but this isn't one of them, not with Blaylock starting just a couple days before the All-Star break kicks in. His earned run average shot up to 12.94 after that brutal last outing where the Padres tore him apart for 12 runs, leaving him looking shell-shocked and the whole team reeling. It's tough to imagine he's shaken off that beating, especially since the Rockies got hammered 21-0 in that game, which has to sting and mess with his head going into this one. Meanwhile, the Reds are scrapping hard for a shot at the playoffs, packing more raw talent across their lineup and pitching staff that gives them a real edge. Colorado's not just owning the worst win-loss record in the majors, they're also the biggest losers against the spread, consistently letting down anyone who bets on them game after game. The Rockies haven't strung together back-to-back wins since way back on June 18th, and at this point, they're making a strong case for being one of the all-time worst squads in baseball history, with mistakes piling up and no signs of turning it around anytime soon. Why risk it on them when they've been nothing but a money pit all year, draining bankrolls left and right with their poor showings? Blaylock's sitting with that ugly 12.94 earned run average and a 2.06 WHIP, and over his last 9 innings, he's coughed up 15 hits and 15 runs, getting lit up without much fight. Honestly, that's all you need to know. I'm steering clear of the Rockies entirely, no matter who's lining up against them on the other side. As our first pick for this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Nothing about this setup screams low-scoring affair. If anything, the signs point to runs piling up from the jump. Blaylock's towing the rubber for Colorado, fresh off what has to be the nadir of his career so far, where everything fell apart in spectacular fashion. In that nightmare against the Padres, he surrendered 12 earned runs while managing just 1 lonely strikeout, and you can bet his nerves are frayed heading into this spot, with doubts creeping in about every pitch. Even looking back before that meltdown, he let 3 earned runs slip by against the Giants and a whopping 6 in an earlier clash with these same Reds at the start of the year, showing he's vulnerable to their bats in particular. On the flip side, the Reds have dropped each of their past 4 games where Singer took the hill, and he's bound to leak some runs to the Rockies here, keeping the scoreboard active. All in all, this shapes up as yet another game where shaky arms on both ends lead to plenty of offense and an easy over. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.